such an asshole.
Good morning. Late morning, Cappy. Slept till 9:30. What a debauched piece of shit I am. Steve writes, Dear Cappy, I've seen a few of your videos where you give your opinion on AI girlfriends and sex bots, but I've never seen anywhere you talk about artificial wombs, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on it. I think you all ought to give it up. I know you artificial. That's I'm going to be honest with you guys. That's incel territory. I'm not, if we want to talk about it academically and all that, but in my comment, oh, just wait till the whatever the sex bots or the artificial. Yeah, no, I know it might be around. Yeah, it's kind of in ways the future is now. But yeah, I mean, it's a thought to have and then move on. So I mean, I'll address it. I'll talk about it, and I'll just call it like an empire over the plate. I look at it as a way to take women's monopoly. See, why do you care about taking women's monopoly away? Monopoly on what? Sex, procreation? You say to procreation. Okay, fine. You don't have to have sex with women. You don't have to have kids with you. Get a vasectomy. Look, I understand compared to traditional times, modern women past 3 generations have not, I can't even say treated men like shit. I mean, in a way, yes, absolutely. But women having their own agency and right to spend their time how they see fit, as misguided and propagandized and led on and self-destructive as it might be, at the end of the day, women can do what they want. And if they want to spend their time abandoning tradition, not having families, or, lackadaisically pursuing families, divorcing people in the process, destroying outside, I don't care. They're not my responsibility. They're not your responsibility. In some ways, yes, you're right. It is despicable what cumulatively as a group they have done. Yes, I get it. Yes, there are ramifications of the but I'd like to think we should move beyond this. Oh, those rascally women. Like, hey, man, you have fun doing you. I don't care anymore. I look at it as a way to take away women's monopoly when it comes to procreation. I'm also not that worried about creating a bunch of single fathers, since a lot of the data shows that they outperform single mothers by leaps and bounds. That is true based on because studies show, research suggests, was it Warren Farrell, I believe? He's the one that came up with the numbers. And if you're a kid and you have the choice to be raised by your dad or your mom, you want to be raised by your dad. I believe that the most we would need from women is their DNA, which I'd be willing to pay for. Would like a video response. All right, so I went and did research on this. Let's do a bunch of different videos. And all my research concluded that they have had a surprising amount of success with rats, obviously, where they're able to take an embryo, not an egg, an embryo. So you still need, at this stage, you still need to have an embryo or a zygote in a woman. So if we look at it like, I guess, a supply chain management, like, okay, we got a product in the factory in China. It's got to come to the United States. It's still being made in the factory in China. There's still the choke point there. All right. But they could transfer it out into a artificial womb, and they got the rat's gestation period is 20 days. They got it to live up to 11. Surprising, with development and everything. So the results were rather impressive. And then there was the article that Japan had a human embryo artificial womb thing. And I think that's fake news, because nowhere did I see that corroborated. But what I'm saying is, right now, at the best, we are getting rats to live 10 days in an artificial womb. That's where we're at. This is not your concern. This is not going to happen in your lifetime. It's not going to happen in any. We are decades away from this even being feasible. And that says nothing of the costs that will be tremendous compared to alternative forms such as surrogates or adoption. Shit, it will probably be cheaper if you're a poor man to just go knock up a gal, fight for custody for the kid, pay whatever divorce fees or out, whatever. That is going to be because, new technology, you're talking in the millions of dollars. I haven't looked at the financial statements, but I got to imagine an artificial womb to run for 9 months is going to be cost prohibitive. Until we were to actually have scientific, almost creepy like labs where it's like the matrix was just farms of baby embryos and incubation chambers. So this is not happening for you. This is not happening for anyone hearing my voice live today. This is 100 years probably from now. And this presupposes it even becomes legal and acceptable, at least in this country, to do so, to do that. What the vast majority, if not all the research I've found, is the reason they're interested in incubation technology and artificial wombs is a treatment for premature babies or babies that have issues or there's complications with the mother and the uterus, right? There's something happened, something bad. This embryo is not going to make it, in which case modern day American feminist women would celebrate and abort it and stomp on its remains and then like burn a bra or something. I don't know. But for whatever reason, instead of aborting it, I guess you would want to keep it alive. And so they want the technology. There are also, if you could get a baby to grow, you can create human components, organs, valves, things like that for children and babies that have issues. So it's not even being used or looked at in terms of procreation and outsourcing and completely replacing traditional methods of having children. It's looking at, I think it's also just morbid curiosity. Look, can we do this? Which is, okay, that's kind of cool. It's to help along babies or embryos that have issues along in the gestation process, assuming feminists aren't going to abort it and use it as a hockey puck later, because that's like how you celebrate. Sorry, I'm not the one being dark. It's some people that like celebrate it. I am pro-choice, but my God, some of you people are just sick, twisted fucks. Like, oh my God, let's celebrate it. Like, maybe it should be a somber moment. Neither here nor there. All right. So this is academic. This is theoretical. But then you want to know, okay, what would happen? Would you want the angle of liberation from women? Well, which you have at any time. It would liberate both men. The final thing keeping men and women together, which technically isn't even true right now, because we have IVF, we have surrogates, and you have adoption. We technically are liberated from each other now. This would cut whatever last final bare thread string is holding men and women together, where men, 21, 25, 100 years from now, Steve goes down to the clinic. He wants a kiss. Fuck the woman. I'm going to have a kid. I'm not dealing with it. I understand the angle. You go in, beep, beep, boop, boop. You order your kid. You present you give some DNA. Even then, you're still going to need an egg. You're still going to need it. You'll never be completely untethered. You need an egg. And women do donate eggs. I think it's not cheap, but then again, the process eggs are very pricey. Sperm is very cheap. How much does an egg cost? And you'd probably be looking, depending how far along the technological curve we're going, you're going to have to, when women do IVF, they have to have 40 eggs, because so few eggs make it through the freezing process, the storage process, the thawing process, the incubation process. Oh, we're doing, how much does a human egg? I'm talking chicken eggs. I'm like 16 cents. Okay, human eggs, but the obtained company, depending on they use 20,000, 40,000 or more per cycle. Frozen eggs. Some banks allow the purchase of individual eggs is smaller per egg, 2,800, 3,000. Okay. So that's per egg. I don't remember the data or statistics, but the vast majority do not make it. You're going to need 10. So let's just say it's a $20,000 to $30,000 purchase. Fine, you got to pay for it. Cheaper than divorce. I get it. Then there's the cost of that. Let's say the costs don't matter. Fine. All right. But you're still going to need the egg. And I don't know if women at that point in time in 21, 25 will form a cartel, conscious or not. Well, don't donate eggs. Don't donate eggs. I don't know if they will or not. They're not now. There are other sociological and community type of cartels that people unconsciously form. I don't think they're going, but that's a possibility just down the road. Finally liberated from woman. Okay, they still got to give you an egg. Who knows what it'll be 100 years from now? However, let's say women are still freely donating eggs, or relatively so, right? They're compensated enough. You could get the egg. Men can start and form their own families without marriage. You bypass the whole process. You can have the whole thing in life without women. You know who else can do that then? Women. Now, you would rightly make the case. A woman can do that right now. She'd go down to the bar, get impregnated by the hottest guy or the coolest drug dealer or whatever tickles their fancy nowadays, whatever the kids nowadays find attractive. They spit out the kid, and in theory, they could go after the guy, the state, they could support the right. So women kind of got it now. But then they'd really have it, because if you don't need women to have kids, you just go to the incubation factory. Women can also do that. And here's where my cynical base level human misanthropy observation of the human race comes in. What will happen is you will have obsoleted pregnancy. If the technology gets affordable, we are 2135, right? So it's very expensive. Then it comes down in affordability. Why would women get pregnant? Very objectively, that's a taxing, costly, burdensome process, right? 9 months, right? I know a lot of you women love your kids. Maybe not in America, but somewhere out there in the world, I imagine mothers love their kids. and you like, I don't mind carrying the child for 9 months. You're still carrying a child for 9. Dude, women got to eat more. They got to produce milk. They got to diet. They do, and then just the physical carrying around of the child. Then there's having labor, dude. I think I'm the perfect son. I think my mom was in labor 5 hours. Sometimes you hear these horrible things like 36 hours, or you have to resort to a C-section. That is a very long, taxing, costly, and burdensome process. And if you can outsource that, so few women are going to get pregnant, have kids the traditional way. Especially if incubation babies become cost comparative to traditional birth, because it ain't cheap to have a child birthing pregnant either. All the doctor visits and tests and things. And he's sitting there like Johnny Bench. I was going to get that one. He's sitting there like Johnny Bench. And so what ultimately will happen, these really, really rich people, it won't be so much for vanity. I think it'll be half and half. I think half of it would be just like, why would you go through pregnancy if you don't have to? And the other thing was, I can maintain my body, which is why a lot of surrogate rich people do is the woman doesn't want to ruin her body. And so there will be a phase where it's very expensive, but technologically feasible to have, and assuming this is all legal and proof, to have an incubation baby. And then you're the hot mom and you don't have no dad, right? You think you're celebrating the liberation of women? What do you think feminists would be doing? Which you shouldn't care about. Feminists are going to be equally so, well, I don't need a man. I could get my custom-made baby in an incubation. I just boop, boop, beep, beep, beep. I just have to donate, 10 eggs. And I could go off and being a girl boss. Just as you would like to be liberated from women, women would equally like to be liberated from you. And I think both men and women will go into their separate camps, even more so than they are now, and start raising their own independent single parent families. Now, the sociological future ramifications of the families and the society that comes after that. So now we're talking 2200. I don't know. I think we're already divided enough along different trait-based lines, many thanks to the Democrat Party, but in this particular case, feminists, because men bad, women glorious. I think you would then, of course, you're always going to fight over resources and taxes. There's still going to be, by the way, sit down. I know this is not a big, huge prediction. I know this will shock a lot of you. In 100 years from now, I bet you women are still going to be bitching about the wage gap. I bet you if 21, 25, Cappy, whoever that person is in the future, analyzing economic data, say women are still majoring in dumb shit. It's like, look at this old fucker from 100 years ago. This guy named Cappy. Look, his numbers are here. Look, still the numbers are here. Although Lord knows if colleges are going to be around in 100 years because they're just completely worthless now. It'll just be another reason to separate and not have anything to do with each other. And that would be fine, right? You don't hang out with everybody you know. You leave each other alone. You almost have respect. But I think because of resource, there's still going to be, we're oppressed, whatever. I don't know. Same fucking horse shit. And it'll be, we'll have a democracy. And it's going to be people voting, well, I need money. Those bad bastards over there. I think just as the future is always now. There's always what will happen in the future. It's kind of already trending that way. I was going to say there will be lesser divorce costs, but there's lesser divorce costs now because men and women aren't getting married. There may be more kids. I don't think so. I don't think women really want kids that much. They may in a truly consumer handbag item sort of way, like a checkbox, but that's now. Most men don't want to raise their kids. You just want to have sex. That will continue on. So the group of men who would then go and raise their own children in defense and praise them, they would probably they're fathers who really want to be fathers, and they would go and they would raise their children. But it's going to be a microscopically small percent of the population. The vast majority of humans alive today, and I would argue in the future, they at the end of the day, they may want children on paper. The fuck if they want to raise them. They absolutely do not want to raise them. But we already have an outsourced system for kids today. It's daycare in the public schools, right? So that the future is now again. I mean, it's funny. Like, what would it be? The government takes care of kids and they're raised by a government parental organization. I mean, like EBT, Section 8 housing, SNAP, and the public schools and daycare? Like now? I got a question for you, modern American parents. Do you even know your kid's name anymore? But after a while, you forget their names? Make sure to put a screen in front of them. Whatever you don't bond with your children, heaven help you. So in a very cynical, misanthropic way, how is it any different than it is now? We have means and technologies that men and women don't need. You want to have a kid, go have a kid. At minimum, adoption, which I know is in your genetic blood, but you can go have a surrogate. I looked at it. Let me double check. The surrogates, it's hilarious to show you just how much media and the economy and corporations control shit. Where you got to pay the lady to have your kid to carry your child, like depending on where they are, 70 to 100 grand. But then there's agency fees and lawyers are all involved in this shit. Surprise, the price doubles. Let me take a look. Cost of surrogate. In the United States, 100,000, 200,000, but sometimes exceed this range. First-time surrogate, experienced surrogate. Agency fees. Fees can range from 25,000 to 60,000. The fuck out of here, man. Expenses, IVF, all that shit. Sure. Lost wages, absolutely. And the woman should be paid for a loss in her physique. I mean, how do you put a price on that? I mean, you can go overseas, just find a gal. Hey, I'll pay you and get the fuck out. You could do it now. It's gonna be costly, but it's gonna be costly no matter what. But that's what I would that's where I forecast it, is if you were to have incubation technology, artificial womb technology, sure, men don't need women, women certainly don't need men, and it would just be yet another way women can have kids without men, but even again, depending on the technology, it could literally just be boop, boop, beep, beep, beep. Hell, they could probably even scan your DNA and create an egg by that time. Like, we really will just we won't need each other. And then we'll fight in the public sphere about who gets the money through democracy and the government coffers. That will be what it will be. And what a fun time that will be. Everyone thinks it can't get much worse than this. Like, you wait. Humans fucking suck. Link below, I have my Amazon affiliate link. If you want to go buy some shit, you can find it at assholeconsulting.com/Amazon. Got super chats. Space Cowboy, a real womb isn't already a fashion accessory? No, I mean, a lot of parents have designer kids, right? The percentage of people having kids that don't really want to raise their kids, I'd say, is around 85%. And I mean that there's an ulterior motive to having the kid. The primary one is I want. Everyone wants to be a parent. No one wants to actually parent. I'm throwing you men into this too. Then there is, oh shit, I had it. It was merely having a thing. Oh, and then some parents are wicked where they bring the kids in to get more welfare or extra Section 8 housing, or as we've had a handful of clients where, surprise, it's only been the mother, took out a credit card and the kid's social security number, even though the kid was like 11. And then when they turn 18, like, why can't I qualify for whatever, a car loan or something like that? That happens. There, but it is not to have your child be raised and form a relationship, and hopefully maybe they have grandchildren and you have Christmas together. That is less than 15% of the American population. Most of you have kids for reasons outside of having the kids. So in that very literal sense, children are a fashion accessory or just a free meal ticket for welfare class people. Cyberbully, $4. Might send a request to hear you talk about the rise of social clubs like run clubs. The ones local to me are becoming sausage. What do you mean rise? What are you talking about? Dude, that happened to me. I was in the Twin Cities running experiment. I don't think it exists anymore. It was the best meetup group I ever went to. And that was 20 years ago. People were running, having a good time. Dating was very rare. A handful of people met and got married, but the vast majority, it was just a running club, and girls were same thing with the volleyball club. I'm actually quite good at volleyball. Meetup group, you go, hey, you want to go get beers afterwards? Dude, they would all go away. It was never a dating. It has always been a sausage fest. That's not new. Yeah, I think I was a very good runner. I don't think I went there for like 3 or 4 years running. And I did the Hash House Harriers too. I was always a front running bastard because I was in good shape, guys. You know, I know I don't look it. I don't think I ever went, not even forget girlfriend, I don't think I had a single date in a running club because it was a sausage fest. There were girls, but the guys were always running ahead. So we'd finish and we'd wait and, oh yeah, you want to get some beers? There's a bar down. Oh, I gotta go. And not like it was me, like it was all these guys. And obviously, yes, we had this guy, the Mexicutioner. This guy, I was not bad. I was up there. This guy could blow anyone out of the water. So we called him the Mexecute. He was Mexican or Mexican descent. Called him the Mexicutioner. He was good. He was iron. So there were obviously way better looking guys than me. And you still like, hey, we've gone through the courtship, very diluted, safe, enjoyable, healthy social process. We've gone through this initial introductory kind of courtship period. Would you like to go get some beers? People would go get, it was mostly guys. The girls would, oh my God, I don't want to meet a man who runs and takes care of himself. It was hilarious. I even remember, I'll tell you another story because we're on the topic of running and I have nowhere to, it's like 36 degrees outside and windy. I'm like, I'm not fossil hunting in that shit. Speaking of running, I will go run on the treadmill today because I'm soft and weak. I don't run outside unless it's like 65 degrees or higher. The one speed dating event I went to, you can look at the map. There's the Mississippi River. On one side is Minneapolis. On one side is St. Paul. The west side is Minneapolis. The east side is St. Paul. Matched with 3 or 4 gals. One gal actually we connected and found out she likes to run. And not only did I find out she likes to run, I was on the West River Parkway because it was on the west side of the river, and she lived on the East River Parkway, and St. Paul was like literally across the, I don't think we could see each other's houses, but like, I'm like, where are you? And she's like, oh, I'm here. I'm like, dude, I'm like literally across from you, and run around that. Surprised I never ran into her because that's a very common run. You run around the river. It's very nice. You want to go for a run sometime? Sure. Okay, how about you meet me at this bridge, right? Because there were bridges that spanned the river. At this time, we'll go running. Never heard from her again. Dude, meetup is a horrible place to meet women. And I think even nowadays, some of the meetup, like they say in the group, this is not a place for dating. This is not a dating site. Oh, no, men want to meet women and similar. Like, right, ladies, the same thing where I don't want to meet a man at work. How dare you ask me out at work, right? Because you don't want someone who has a job and is gainfully employed and has a retirement plan and has the same professional intellectual interest as you are. That's the worst place to meet a man, would be work. Heaven forbid you meet a guy who has similar interests and hobbies like kayaking. Thank God those guys didn't ask you out in the kayaking meetup. By the way, I never went to a kayaking meetup. I'm just giving you an example. Yeah, look, guy, I'll say it again. If women like you, they'll let you know. When women start liking men, you'll know. Okay. In the meantime, dude, yeah, don't go to meetup groups again. I'm gonna find girls. Go there because you like playing volleyball. Go there because you like bowling. And don't unless it's a very unique group. Don't waste the time with the standard early 30 something. Let's go to the bar afterwards. It's pointless. I mean, unless you want to go have a drink with your buddy, sure, go have a drink, go to the bar afterwards. But it's always been that way. Every party's been a sausage fest. It's not just now, and it's not just running clubs. Although running club, dude, some of the best, not bad, not a bad thing to do, get into a running club. Ken Rose, $5. He says, hello, Ken. The Plains were happy holiday. Oh shit, you're right, Plains. Oh, I got to change into my costume. Oh, shit. I got to shave. Damn it. You're right. What are you going to go as, Plains? All right. That's it. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.